Hey everybody, Quilting here. So we're continuing on our kaleidoscope journey times deuce. So we want to do it from beginning to end on Marsh's Magic quilt, okay? So not too long ago we did the backing or the afterthought quilt, which I love that term, so I'm gonna start using that. The afterthought quilt we completed. So when I baste, I don't use sprays or adhesives. I pin, okay? I like to pin because it gets me closer to the quilt, and I get to pay more attention to detail when I'm pinning. Okay, I find that when I spray, I mean, if you spray, it's okay. It's on you. To each his own. All right. But when I spray, I miss spots. You know, I don't pay attention. I'm not attentive as I am when I pin. Because when I pin, I'm usually on the floor and I'm looking at it as I pin. But today, I have the Marsh's Magic fits on our dining room table. All right. Yeah, it looks beat up. Been through quite a few Thanksgivings, but it's still here. But it fits perfectly. So we're going to put it together here. So I have 5 things. I have my quilt top, my batting, my quilt back or my afterthought quilt, pins, and my self-healing mat. I use my self-healing mat so I don't scuff up my wife's table. All right, we've been down that road and we don't want to go down that road again. All right, so here we have quilt back. All right, this is our quilt back right here, or our afterthought quilt. So we're gonna lay that out, okay? Now usually I do bigger quilts, so I'm usually on the floor, but this is a bonus, okay? We get to be upright and standing. So I'm gonna lay this out right here, right? So, new quilters, what's next? All right, you pros, don't cheat. New quilters, what do we put on? Yep, you got it. Batting. Got some Hobbs here. I love Hobbs brand, so that's what I go with. I'm gonna put that on, okay? I'm just gonna fit it on top here. Ideally, you want it to be a little bit bigger than your quilt top, right? Because when we square off our quilt, we want something to square off, okay? We don't want to be short anywhere. Rather be large to be able to cut off parts, or not short, because it's harder to add than it is to take it off. Okay, just gonna square that off there and put this on. All right, so something you have to pay attention to when you put your batting on, okay? Make sure that you didn't cause mounds, hills, puckers on your quilt back. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll grab the both of them and we'll take a look under and make sure I'm fully rolled out and extended out to fit everything that I'm putting on. See, like right here, the bend. So all I'm gonna do is just pull this out with a tug, that's all. We are ready for what's next. I think we know what's next. Quilt top, right? We're gonna put our quilt top on. Okay, so don't ask me how I know, but I know that this yellow area is my top right-hand corner. Okay? I'm gonna lay this down. All right, so now, when we lay this down, you can't just lay it down. You gotta pay attention and make sure that you're aligned with your quilt back, okay? You don't wanna be crooked, all right? You wanna be straight. So what I did before I did all this is I made sure that all my corners were square. So I know if I go corner to corner, we'll be okay, okay? This corner here. All right, so looking like progress, right? This corner here. Okay, we come down here, we're gonna do that lower corner there. Okay, see this? See that right there? See how that's short right there? We don't want that, okay? Because when you come through here, that'll be short, and you'll be able to feel it inside the quilt, inside when you bind it. Or now it doesn't take much to give it a little tug. You know, I probably pulled it down on that side. That's what happened. All right, because I made sure that everything was lined up before we came out, okay? So we are good here. All right, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a look under again, make sure I didn't miss anything. Just gonna roll it over, take a look, and I'm gonna put it back, okay? No worries, guys, no worries. Not supposed to be stressing over this. You're supposed to love it, okay? No stress. Okay. No 9 line needed to be done for a quilt. All right. Put that down there. Look at that. That's money there. Okay, so after we know that we're good and we're square, we're gonna pin. All right. And when I pin, I like to work my way from the middle out. Okay. All right, that's close enough for government work. What do you think? All right. Don't want to be short anywhere, okay? Right here, I'm a little long, so I must be short down there. Let's see what we got here. Yep, we're short down here. That's the quilt top. Okay. It takes a little work sometimes, all right? And then sometimes I just use gravity. Just hang it over. Let gravity do some of the work. You know, when I hang it off the edge, what'll happen is the layers will let go, start lining up on their own. Just like that. Okay. Let's push it back up here. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna get our pins out. So pins. You can use any type of pin you want. There's no rules to this game, okay? This is why I like making left turns, because you can do that here, all right? So the pins I like to use, or the pins I'm comfortable with using, are these number 3 curved pins. Now you can get regular straight pins. Use what you have, all right? Don't go out breaking your bank, breaking your back over quilting, okay? Because this can be a very expensive craft if you let it, but you don't have to let it, okay? I don't. All right, I use what I have, I use what I can, and we're doing okay, I think. All right, at least 30,000 of you think so. I cracked myself up. All right, so look, on here is my cutting mat. All right, I have an Arteza self-healing mat here that I use, that I put on the floor, or I put underneath my layers to pin, all right? And the reason why I do that is because when you pin using your self-healing mat, the pin is gonna return to you, all right? You're gonna go through all 3 layers. The pin's gonna bounce off of this surface and come back up through, okay? Okay, I'll tell you something. When I first started, all right, when I built my grandson's quilt, no, it wasn't his quilt, it was someone else's. It was an adult quilt, it was a bigger quilt. Took it downstairs, man, I was doing good. I was flying. I was doing great. I was proud of myself. Man, I took it down, laid it out, you know, had everything lined up. It was perfect. Basted, I pinned, went to pick it up, and it was pinned to the floor. It was pinned to the carpet, all right? So this was a lesson that you need to let me learn so that you can do better, okay? So I basted my quilt to the carpet, and I learned a lesson, all right? So I use this now. I use this every time. Even when I'm on a hard surface like this, because I don't want my wife to come down and see little check marks that I put in with pins. No worries, okay? So what I'll do is, well, what I usually do is I'll spill out a bunch of pins, all right? So I have about maybe 50, 60 pins in here. And I don't necessarily, it depends on the size of the quilt is how many I'll use, all right? I just pin away. But what I'll do is, first thing, I'll put this under. And I'll put it under center. Now, when I have huge quilts, it takes a little effort because I have to slide it along, because this can also cause puckers underneath if you're not careful, okay? But I know with this quilt, I know I'm at center. So here's the edge of the, it's 35, it's a 35-inch self-healing mat. Center's about here, and that's where we're gonna start. So what I like to do is I'll pin center, and then I'll just work my way around, okay? Around until I get to the edges, and then I pin corners, okay? When I get to the corners, what I'll do is I'll pin, once I've worked my way around, all right? Not necessarily in a circle, it depends on the size of the quilt, then I'll pin in the corners, just like this. Then once that's done, all right, I'll just pick it up, take it up, and we'll start quilting it, all right? Actually quilting, all right? And then that will be it. So let's throw some pins in, okay? So here's my center, right about here. Put a pin in, all right? And I don't wiggle. I try to drive straight down until I feel the mat. When I feel the mat, I'm gonna bring it right back up, all right? All right, let's roll it over and take a look and see if we made it all the way through, okay? Here we go. We're in, okay? And that's the look we want, okay? Now, when it comes to distance between the pins, that is totally up to you, okay? I'm still stitching a ditch guy, so, but, you know, I don't know, it depends. It depends on how you, I guess it will depend on how you quilt. If you're gonna be a free motioner or you're like me, live in a ditch. I live in a ditch. So I'll probably try to keep pins about 5 inches to 6 inches apart. Maybe the most 7, 8. But to me, I just want to get these layers put together. Once I get the layers put together, I think I'm pretty confident in getting it all in one, you know, the whole act is to get it secured so that you can get it to the machine without it sliding apart. So I think I get enough pins in at enough distance to get that done, okay? So I'm just gonna throw some pins in, and then when we come back, you'll see how many pins because sometimes I can get obsessive and lost in the whole motion of it, and I'll have more pins than I need, and then sometimes I don't have enough pins, but the only way I find out is by doing it. So when we come back, you'll see the finished, I guess, basted quilt of Marsh's Magic. We'll be ready to go upstairs and to put it on the machine. So when we come back, you'll see what we accomplished with pin basting and not spray basting, okay? Be right back. Okay, so we're almost pretty much done, I guess. So I went from center, across, center, up and down, and then went from center to corner, and all the corners. Now I'm gonna put a couple around the border, and that's it. But what I do is once we get most of the pins in, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flip it over too. Because you just don't want to pin it and then take it upstairs or take it to the machine and not know what's going on the other side. Okay, so we're gonna flip it over here and take a look. Okay, you can see the pins. Here are my pins. So what I was looking for is maybe creases or puckers that I might have caused, and we look pretty clean, right? Let's flip it over here. Let's see the other side. No puckers, all right. Not that it matters because I don't mind puckers, really. They don't offend me at all. My quilts don't go to shows. My quilts go to people that I love, all right. So if you see one of my quilts in a quilt show, check the linen closet. I'm tied up, being held hostage. It's against my will, all right. It's about the journey for me. All right, so this is it. This is what we got. Marsh's Magic's ready to be quilted, okay? So the next time we come back, what you're gonna see is some in the ditch action. Look, I love doing it. I know I have to get out of my comfort zone, but it won't be on this quilt that I do it, okay? So when we come back, next time you see this quilt, we'll be quilting it, and we'll be putting our bind on, all right? We'll go for the bind and fold it up and send it off to Marsha. All right, Marsha's magic is almost done. What I'm going to do also is, I think I'm going to Scotch guard it as well, just to give it some protection, all right, against anything. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and remember, it's only fabric and it's only thread.